Okay, so let's start. Welcome to all. Today's topic is Pandas. So let's start with the Pandas. So what is Pandas? Pandas is basically a library that is used for data sets, for dealing with the data sets in Python. This is basically the most important library for importing and managing the data sets, right? And this is the one of the most important part of machine learning in which we deal with the data sets, how to analyze the data, how to visualize the data, and many more things in the data sets with Python, right? So the very first thing that you required in Python, that is to import the pandas library. That is in the first line we can see over here that import is a keyword that you all know, and pandas is a library, and as is also a keyword, and pd is also a simple alias that is used for pandas. You can use any other also, but as this is a standard one, so that is why it is being used pd as for pandas, right? So pandas deals with the data frames. And what do you understand by the data frame? It is basically a two-dimensional, potentially heterogeneous tabular data structure with labeled axes, rows, and columns. Right? Means you have any data set, and that data set has certain rows and columns, and we have to analyze that certain data from that data set. Then we deal for with the pandas. Right? So data frame is a two-dimensional data structure. That is, a data is aligned in a tabular fashion. We will see in the implementation part how to deal with the data in the rows and columns. Like this is a simple example. Like we have a certain number of rows as we can see over here, and these are the columns, right? So we have to fetch any particular data from the data set. We want to know any particular record, then we can go for the pandas in Python, right? So this is uses of pandas, that is data analysis, data manipulations, data simple visualizations, everything is covered in the pandas, right? Now the coding section will be on Jupyter notebook. So let's start with the Jupyter. All the queries will be answered at the end of this session after taking a 10 breaks. So let's see. For opening Anaconda, I have told you you need to go with Anaconda prompt, and there you need a Jupyter notebook, because to work over here, you need a Jupyter notebook as an IDE, right? So it is being opened, right? And in the previous lesson in the NumPy, I have told you everything, that how to create a new folder, how to create a Python file from here, and how to rename everything. But let's see. Now, this is the IDE where we have to work, right? So very first thing you can do that for data set, from where you can get the data set, you can go to this link. This is a UCI learning repository for machine learning. And here you can see there are a number of data sets where you can download a number of data sets as per your requirement. So for, let us say example, I just download over here for arrays data set, and we see over here we have two things. First is data folder, and second is data set description, right? So data folder, both things we'll download it. What? Data and names, these are two things that you need to download it, because in one of the file we have description of data set, and another file we have a actual data set entries, right? So I downloaded it. Arrays.data is being downloaded. As you can see, arrays.name, it's being downloaded. Now I just open it and show you what actual this file contains. This we can see, this is a data in certain rows and columns. This is the whole data containing a lot of entries, right? Now this is the data, and these are the another file that is containing the description of actual data that I have shown you, right? So the most important thing that you require is the attribute information. This is the attribute information of all the columns that was in the data, right? The sepal length, sepal width, and etc. Right? And these are the three classes that these are the three classes. Right. So let's start. This is a basic thing that I have told you from where you can download the data set. Right. And to deal with this, we will see the next one. Let's have a first class, that is Pandas, how to import, how to deal with a simple data. I have already downloaded and save in this folder, right? That is RIS data set I have, and diabetes data set I have, and NBA data set I have, right? So this is a CSV folder, CSV format, that is comma separated values, right? So this is a comma separated values that can be saved in a Excel format, right? So if you have the data, you can save as in the CSV format, right? Because this in Pandas, we will see how to read the CSV files. This is a predefined function, as you can see. So this will read a CSV file. This is a reason we just save data or take the data in CSV or in data format, right? So first thing that is required, that is import pandas as PD, right? So this is the very first thing that you required to import a pandas library. Then only the things will work, because all the commands, all the functions, as you can see, that consist inside the pandas library. So you need to import this library. Now shift enter, right? You have press shift enter. Now next one is how to read the data set. I have the data set in my folder, but I want to read this data set, arrays data set from pandas. So what I can do, I simply write arrays, let it be the name of the data frame, right? And equals to what? PD dot read underscore and CSV, then comes with the bracket, and then suppose this is a simple reading of diabetes data set. So let us first read a diabetes data set, that is right. So this is we have done with the CSV file of diabetes. Now we will press shift enter. It has been executed, and now here we can see that the here it from 1 it comes to the 2. That means this is being executed and this line also is executed. Now I want to see what is inside the DF, that means data frame, our data set. Now shift enter. Now we can see that this is the data that we were having in the CSV in the Excel format. So this data is being read it using pandas, right? So this is what, this is a number of rows and number of columns that this data consists, that is 768 rows and 8 columns, right? Now this is a lot of data. I don't want such data, I just only want only a few lines or 5 lines. So what I can do, I simply df dot head. This is also a predefined function just to read the some few lines of your data set, not the whole data. You require a predefined function, that is a head. Press shift enter. Now you can see over here what it is. Only five data sets is being read, right? Now I just want to read only 10. Then here you can see the 10 records is being retrieved from whole of the data set. This is how you can go through for the data set, right? Now coming to the next, if I want certain columns, let us suppose I want only this column, right? So this column, I just want this column. So df dot glucose this. So everything left in only one column will be retrieved, and data of only one column is retrieved, that is glucose is being seen, right? And everything is being given in the description. It is a name of the column, that is glucose, then comes with length, that is a number of rows it has, and actual type of it is. Right. Now I want to describe my data, what actual is inside the df. So describe is a predefined function that is being used. Let's have a shift plus enter. Now we can see data is being described in a manner that it will count the number of things that it inside, the number of rows it is, the mean of all, the standard deviations, minimum, percentage wise, and the maximum of all. Right. So everything is being calculated using what predefined function? Again, that is a describe. Now suppose I want only all the columns and in the certain variable, right? What does it means? Let's see. Suppose I want everything, this is everything, to be inside any variable, right? I want x as a variable and every column is inside what? Inside column, inside this x. We can see over here, these are the column names. But what we have not included? We have not included the outcome column, right? So suppose you want to analyze all the features. So what you can do, you can take the values in one particular variable, that is x. So x is containing the number of columns over here, right? But not the outcome. Outcome we can take in another variable. Now it's been executed. Let's execute this, right? Now I just want to see what is inside the x variable. So we can see that x variable is being executed and inside x we have all the data except the outcomes. I don't want the outcome in my data set. So I just remove it and only write all the attributes till age. Right. So this is a simple thing. And if you want only this section, only this column, that is outcome column, right? So what you can do, you can simply take another variable and equals to df and outcome. Give the column name, right? Let's see. Shift enter. Right. So what I have done, I have taken all the starting column in one variable and all last, that is an outcome variable, in another variable. So now I want to see what is inside the y, that is shift enter. You can see that this is the outcome and this is a variable y in which only the outcomes is there, nothing else is there, right? So outcome is the name of the column and length is the number of rows actually in this particular column, and in this is the data type, right? So this is a basic things that you should know how to retrieve the data from the data set, right? This was a data set and from here we have retrieved a lot of data, right? So this was the basic things to tell you that how to deal, how to extract the data from a data set. Now moving to the next one. These are the basic things that you should know, that while reading the CSV file, how to retrieve the columns, how to deal with certain columns, how to add the values, how to subtract the values, how to add a new column. These are the basic things that you can do while analyzing your data set, right? So suppose first of all, the first thing very thing is that is importing a pandas as PD, right? Shift enter. Now pandas is being imported. Now I want to read the another data set, right? In this we have taken an example of what diabetes data set that I was already having in my this folder. Now the next one is next data set, that is iris data set that I have downloaded. Paste. Now you can see, simply if I remove the header equals to none, this is what? This is again the predefined function using pd dot read CSV and then the name of the data set that you want to read your data, right? So pd dot CSV and the name of the data that you want to read it and put in the certain variable that will be acting as your data frame, right? So now I want to see what is inside arrays data. That is shift enter. Arrays is not defined. It's not executed actually. So first shift enter and then arrays, right? So now you can see it is being retrieved and it's been showing all the data from the data set. You can see over here, but one thing is there, you can see this is the first row, and this first row is being considered as the heading of this data set, right? Now I want to remove this heading, and I want my own heading to be included. So here what I can do, I can simply make a header equals to what? None, right? None. Now shift enter. Now again I want to see what has happened. Now you can see the first row, which was earlier acting as a header, is now being shifted downwards, and this one is become a header. Now I just want to remove this header also, and I want to make my own header, right? So what I can do, going to the next thing, that how to get a certain things. This is how you can get only your headers. I want, suppose this is a variable column, and I want this to be as a header on the above data set. Instead of 0, 1, 2, 3, I want sepal length, sepal width, petal length, and petal width and class should come instead of this what is coming, that is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 over the header. You can see this, I don't want this, right? So I want my headers. So for that, I just take one variable, that is col, that is column, for column, and then I give the things that is I want. Right now, press shift enter. Now let's see that what is inside the array. First of all, you have to assign this column variable to the columns of arrays. Right. So let's assign the value, that is dot column, and what equals to what? Column. Actually what I have given, and what I want, right? Now shift enter. Now let's see what is inside this data set that I have changed using my own headers. You can see these are the headers that I have changed from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 to the sepal length, sepal width, petal length, and petal width, right? So this is the things that is used for simply putting the headers, right? So going to the next one, next things, let's see. Now I want, now these are what, in the class section, what you can see, there are three classes. This is a class, means class 1, this one, right? Class 2, which is not shown, every data is not being showed, it shows by 3 dots, showing that a lot of more data is there. So first class, second class is there, and third class is this one. I only want this class, arrays Satosa, right? So what I can do, I can simply write any variable, or can take, or whatever you want, a class Virginica, that is I want this class to be displayed. So what I can do, I can take one variable, right? One variable equals to arrays is a data set. Then again, I want the class attribute of arrays to be equals to this class, that is arrays. This is Virginica, right? So this is what I want to be inside the X variable, right? So shift enter. Now let's see what is inside the X variable. Shift enter. Now see. Now this was the rows and column. Number of rows or columns are what? 150 rows and 5 columns. Now if I have extracted only one class, here you can see this indexing is starting from 100, because this class is from 100 and till where? 149. So only one class we can see. We are not seeing the whole three classes. Only one class is being retrieved from your data set. Right. Now the next attribute is index. What is the index? Just showing that what is inside your index, the number of the columns, actually the attributes, right? So dot index. Now the attributes, that is number of rows, is being started from 0 till 150 rows, right? So this is a index attribute that will give you, that will count your records, right? Now at axis means the number of columns, the columns, and at actually the name of the columns is the axis, right? What we have, right? So arrays dot axis. Shift enter. Now, here you can see the range index is what? Starting from 0, stop till 150, step equals to 1, and then index. Index is what? Sepal length, sepal width, petal length, and your all the columns, etc. Right? So this is how you can retrieve the axis, that is a column names. It's so easy, just only using one attribute, that is axis, index, data type, you can get every information of your data set, right? It is so easy. Now let's have a data type of this. So arrays dot d type, d types. Shift enter. I'm getting the details, the data type details of all the columns. Actually, what? Sepal length have the values in its column, and that data type is float 64, right? So it has given every things or data types of the column, right? Now if you want to know the shape is what? Actually shape is number of rows and columns that makes your data set. So it's so easy just to know the shape. Arrays dot shape, then shift enter. This is giving you the number of rows as well as number of columns, right? Now if you want to display only one column, if you want to display only one column, suppose I want arrays, arrays dot, let us suppose class. This is class and this is, now see, here it is a class. This is a name of the data frame you have, that is arrays, and this is one attribute, that means one column. If I want, then write the name of the attribute or column over here, and it will be displaying all the values in that particular column, right? So all the columns of class attribute is being displayed. Now suppose I want the information to be displayed. What I can do, arrays dot info method can be used to displaying for all the methods, all the information. So it's giving all the information about the attributes that is being used in the data set, that is 150 number of rows. It is not null, it's data type into one single function. So easy now. So let's going to the next one. Arrays dot, I want to know the data types counts, means how many floats are there, right? So simply use the get, then underscore, then d type, then underscore, then count, and then bracket. Shift enter. Now see how many float are there, that is 4, object 1, data type int. Now if I want to do the summation of all the things, right? So arrays dot predefined function again, that is sum, that is this, right? This is the sepal length, width, length, and petal width, right? Axis is used just to have the sum of only columns and only rows. In case you want only rows summation, then what you will use? 1. And if you want only column summation, then you will use 0. That means if I just use over here, that is axis equals to 1, so it will do the summation of all the rows. If I use 0, then what will happen? It will do the summation of all the columns, right? So axis is used to tell on what x's actually you want the summation, right? So moving to the next one, this is simple values. If you have a space in your column, suppose in the above I have a sepal length, so sepal length has a space in between, right? This attribute I want to know the values of this attribute, and this attribute has a space in between, right? So how can I do? If there is a space, then you will use this bracket syntax. If there is no space in the attributes, then you can simply use this one, that is df, the data frame dot column name, right? But if you have simple spaces, as you can see over here, let's see this like here. So it is displaying all the values of sepal length, but the difference is sepal length attribute have space. That's why I'm using this syntax, that is back to bracket, right? Square bracket. If it would not be having any space in between sepal length, it would be one attribute. So I would have used this syntax, right? So this is a quite basic things that you should know. Now, coming to the type of particular data type, that is a column name. So use a type and then simple arrays, then write the column name, that is, it's giving that this attribute class in the above data is series, right? We can see over here what it is written, series. The type of this column is series, right? So this is also simple method that you can use, that is type. Now I want only some values of certain column, right? Some values, not all values. So what I can do, arrays, then write class. This is this column I want, and I want only few values. So what I can use, head. Head is also a predefined method that is used to retrieve the only some records of your data set. Shift enter. Now you can see by default head takes 5 entries. If you specify any value over here, it will give you accordingly. Suppose I want 20 values or I want 10 values, so it will give me the above 10 values of my data set using simply head. Suppose I want values from the bottom of the data set. What I can use? At that case, I can use a tail function, that is shift enter. So this is the value we can see that from the below of the data set, right? Here also, if I'm not giving anything, it will take the last 5 values of the data set, right? If I'm specifying it, it will take the predefined value as you have defined over in the argument, right? So this is things that if you want some part of your data set to be retrieved, right? So this is the same thing if there are number of columns, that means more than one column is there and you want to retrieve the data of more than one column, right? So you can add over here comma and anything whatever you want. Suppose sepal length also I want, then space, right? So this is how you can do or get the values of the two or more columns using this syntax, right? Or from the bottom, if you want, you can use the tail, right? So easy. And this syntax I have told you, if there is no space, then you will use this. And if there is a space in column, then you are going to use two square bracket and then. Otherwise, it will show an error, right? Now, next one. If I want a particular column values to be stored in certain variable, so simply I write C, or it would be better if I just copy from here, right? I want only 3 columns. These are the columns of my data set, that is sepal length, sepal width, and petal length. These 3 columns I want in one variable, that is C, right? So what I can do, I can simply write C equals to the name of the column. Now shift enter. Now I want to see what is inside this. So what I can do, I can write the data frame name and arrays and see. Press shift enter. Now you can see that only the data of these three columns or attributes is being retrieved. No other attribute is being included, and this is being saved in C variable, and this is how you can simply get it, right? So let's see the next one. Now, if you want to add new columns at the end, right? I'm telling you only at the end of the data set. This is my data set. And at the end of this data set, I want to include one new column, right? So what I can do, I can simply write arrays and the name of the column actually I want to add. Let us suppose the name of the column I want to add, that is new. Then equals to what? I have to give the value also. Let us say 3. I want to give it. Now shift enter. Now I just want to see what is inside my data set. Shift enter. Now you can see in this data set, in the above data set, what I have done. I can have simply done simple the addition of one new column. You can see over here, new. It was not earlier. Now I have added the new column, that is the name of the column over here, that is new, and the value that is being assigned over here, that is 3. So this is the 3 that is being assigned to each column value, that is new, right? So you can see 3 is being displayed over whole column, right? So this is how, and now this was the thing that was at the end of the data set. I want to insert a value in between of that. What I can do, I can simply arrays dot at particular location. If I want to insert, I can use a predefined function, that is insert. I give the value 2, then column. Now the column name actually you want equals to, suppose I want new 2. This is the name of the column I want to include in this, right? Then I want a value to give equals to, give the value, suppose 4, right? Now shift enter. Now let us see that what is inside the arrays, that is shift enter. Like, now see and compare the three database till now you have. First database was not containing a new value nor new 2, right? If I just want to add a new at the end, I use the above command, it is being added. I want to insert in between my data, I just write a insert function and give the attributes. So one new value is being inserted in this data, that is new 2, and the entries and the value that I have assigned to this database is what? 4. So 4 is being inserted over here, right? So let's see the next one. This is how to insert the values in this, right? Suppose I want to add some value to each and every value of the column. What I can do, I simply write the name of the column actually I want. Sepal width, sepal width, right? And I want to add the value 5 to each and every value. Now you can see in the above data, sepal width, the first value of sepal width is 3.5. Now I have added 5 to the sepal width, right? 3.5 becomes what? 8.5. So 5 is being added to the sepal width values, and each value is being incremented, right? So easy. Now, if I want to subtract the 5 values, you can simply use a subtract 5. If you want to multiply each value by 2, you can simply multiply by 2. you want to divide by 2, you can simply write the name of the column, name of the data frame, and use the predefined functions of Pandas, that is what multiplication, divisions, and multiplication, simple subtraction, right? So this is what the simple things that you want. Now let us suppose take a third data set. Arrays we have seen how to take it. We have deal with the diabetes data set. Now let us see the NBA data set, right? So for NBA data set, I'm using NBA data set. This has been read it. And now I want simple to upgrade the value. Let us see first what is inside the NBA database. Shift enter. Now you can see after pressing shift enter, I got the data in my IDE, right? So this is all data of NBA, right? Now, if I want to multiply and change the column salary and I want to find it out the annual salary, right? So what I can do, I can simply write one statement and writing one statement that is multiplying a particular column and assigning to the new value that is annual. Shift enter. Now I want to add the cell, press plus sign, want to see NBA. Now you can see this is a difference. One new column is being added and this column is a multiplication of salary values and you have got the new column, right? So this is how you can get the values. Now, suppose I want to count the values in the column. I want to count the values in my one column. What I can do, I want a position column, want to know how many values are inside the position value. Then shift enter. This is how. SG is one of the attribute that is 102 times being repeated. Okay, let's see position attribute. This is what position attribute, and this is the attributes. So here we can see SG. So how many SGs are there? 102 times SG are there. So I have counted the particular values in my position column, that is SG 102, etc. Right? So this is all about how to count the values. Now I want only the head values only first. So what I can do, simply use the head. This is very much common function you can use again and again to know only the something of your data set. Now come to the that suppose NBA and I want to drop all the null NA values, right? Not applicable values. Drop NA and function. Let's see. First of all, in this data set, we have to see whether they are NaN or not. We can see there are many NaN and I want to remove this particular NaN from my data set, right? So here also one predefined function is there, that is drop NA. Shift enter. Now this is a data set in which I have no NaN, right? We can see all the Na is being removed from your data set, right? So just using a simple method, that is drop NA. Now, if I want to use and I want to drop NaN from a particular what attributes, right? So for this, you can use simply the name of your data set, then drop NA predefined function as above you have used, then write the subset equals to position and college, right? So what is this? This is the name of the columns. First is your position is the name of the column and college is also a name of the column, and from these two columns I want to remove all the NA values. So again shift enter. Now all the NA is being removed only from the two columns, that is position and what college, that is this one. Rest all other will be showing the NA because we have not removed from all, right? We only removed the NA values from two columns, that is position and college. So this was removing the NA values from your data set. Now if I want to fill the LA, right? I want to fill the NA values. So what I can use, simply write the dataset name, write the column name from column, that is college. I want to fill NA. Fill NA, what does it do? It will replace all the NA values, means in spite of wherever it is written NA in your data set, it will be replaced by no college, right? That means from your data set, from this particular column, that is college, if you are seeing the NA values, that will be removed, and in place of that, it will be filtered by the new value, that is no college, right? So, and in case you want to make something permanent change, you can use in place equals to true. This is one of another attribute which is used to make the permanent changes, right? Shift enter. So this is being executed. So just to make any with certain values, you can use what? Fill any function and in place attribute equals to true. That will make a changes permanent. In the other also we can see, for making the permanent changes, you can set in place equals to true. Right? By default, in place equals to false. But if you want to make the permanent change, you can use in place equals to true. Right? Now, coming to the next thing, this I have told you that for a particular column you want to fill the NA space, you can use fill NA. You want to find it out the unique value, right? I want to find out the unique value, how many unique value are there in particular column, that is position. So shift enter. So it has been given that there are 5 unique value in which column? Position column, right? So let's see the next one. Now, if you want to sort the values, right? If you want to sort the values, so what you can use? A predefined function, again, that is what? That is sort values is a predefined function. You are not supposed to do any kind of a long coding for sorting your values as you do in your C, C++ or Java, right? So here is only one line code, that is one function, sort values, NBA dot sort values, and then comes with your the name of attributes to which actually you want, right? And this is how you can sort the values of age, right? In ascending or in descending order. If you want, this is actually this is actually what? This is giving you sorting in ascending order. By default, ascending equals to true, right? Now, if you want to sort in the descending order, so what you can do, you can give the name of the column, and in descending is an attribute. So descending is not over here. In place of descending, what you can write? Ascending equals to false, because the opposite of ascending is descending. So if you want descending, you can write ascending equals to false, and it will give you the values in the descending order of any column or to whole of the database, right? And if similarly, if you want to sort the values of more than one column, you can simply write the name of the columns inside this syntax, and inside this method, just pass it out and press shift enters. Within seconds, you will get the result, right? So this is all about the things that you require to analyze your data to retrieve the certain things in data, right? Now, moving to the most important thing of this section, that is the ilog function. This you can use in your machine learning, right? This is a very, very, very important part of this session. Ilog is basically used to retrieve the features or the outcomes of your data set, right? So how you can do? First thing that you need, that is import pandas as pd, shift enter. You can also run from here also, right? There are two ways to run, execute your line, that is here, or press shift enter, right? So this is simple importing, and I want to read my this file. I simply write over here, right? Now change the name of the file. Actually, I want to read the NBA file. So I write over here NBA. Shift enter. It's been read it. Now let us see what is inside NBA. Shift enter. All the data is being retrieved. Right. Now only some values I'm retrieving it just to see that how the head function is working. This is only 5 values I want. Right. Now the most important thing. Suppose I want only from starting from this column till this, or only the salary column of the data set, right? For that, I can give ilog function. Ilog function is for locating the values that you actually want. In this, you have two attributes. First is your rows, number of rows you give in this. Then you put comma, and again, then you put number of columns you want, right? Let us suppose I want all the rows of this data, but I only want the column that is equals to what? 0 to 2, right? And the last value is not considered. Last value is not considered after the colon, right? So it will give you the value 0, 1 index. So let us see how it will give you. Now I want to see what is inside my X variable here. Here is your data. Now see very carefully that what analyze the data, what is inside this one. I have the data set here that is 457 rows and 9 columns, right? From that 456 rows, I only want 10 rows, right? So I have defined over here from 0 to 10 rows I want, right? And secondly, this is for columns. So columns is what? Simply 0 to 2. 2 will not be included. So what will be included? Only the 0th location column and 1 location column. 2 will not be included. Last value is never included. So I got the column at 0 as well as 1. The 2 is not included, right? So this is all about the ilog. This is very important, right? And your all the queries will be handled after 10 minutes, right? Log in with the ID that is being sent to your Google Classroom. So thank you all for attending this session.